All right, so today's video is an evolution of different topics that I was going to put together, and somehow I threw them together in a way which I told ChatGPT to be witty, and it was very witty. I was laughing the whole time I was reading the script, but I don't think that you guys want that kind of video. So, inevitably, we came to the conclusion that Gen Z knows what's up, right? They know that the American dream is a pipe dream. It took me about 20 years to figure out that I was going nowhere in the career that I allegedly have because I haven't had a career. I've worked one dead end job after another my entire life, including my current job, which is a joke. As I've said in previous video, every job is McDonald's these days. And for Gen Z to come to the conclusion that they're never going to own a home, they're never going to have a good job, and they're never supposed to get ahead means that they're abandoning things like chasing fantasies, like home ownership or being financially comfortable. But I have too, and that's what I have in common with Gen Z today. My own Gen Z at work, I could just tell that he was giving up. Like something inside of him was finally triggered with Monday's events. We won't mention them because I heard another gym guy saying some pretty spicy things about Cheeto and Chief. Anyhow, I just wanted to read these two things off that it wrote in the script. I'm just trying to not live in my car at this point, bro. Even a shack in the middle of nowhere comes with a cozy price tag of $500,000. Which, oh my God. You know, if I had to define my life by the success that I've had, there is no success. I just came home and there's this nice letter on my door. Let's see what it says. Understanding cockroaches. Oh my God. Not even- Signs of a cockroach infestation, and exterminators can help you get rid of your infestation. This place is nearly $2,000 a month, and I get that letter on my door telling me they're coming in to spray for like the 10th time for a building that needs to just be burnt down rather than trying to fumigate it again. Anyhow, this is the letter I had to find on my door when I'm living my best life or I'm chasing the American dream because I'm a middle aged man living in a tiny apartment that has more roaches in it than every other place I've lived in my entire life. And I just took one tenant moving in order to get this infestation. I couldn't imagine. Like, people are leaving this building in order to move into other apartments in the same complex because this building is so bad. Anyhow, with that said, let's get into our talking points. Unrealistic expectations versus reality. I think this can be applied to a lot of things, but we'll start out with applying this to your dating life, right? Your love life, the part of your life where you're not shaking hands with the governor. Your realistic expectations are to go out there and meet the Victoria's Secret model that you've always dreamed of. The reality of it is Susie Rottencrotch is overweight, has a C-section scar, and she's got some cottage cheese on the back of her thighs. That's the reality of life. That representation of life is all you're going to get. You don't like it. It doesn't smell fresh. You don't believe her lies or her wig. Remember, the bigger the hoops, the bigger the Susie. But that's what we got. I don't get into my Promobile and feel good every day. I look at the stains on the front on the driver's side seat, and I've been wondering what they are for years, right? Because I've tried to get those seats cleaned so many times. I've bought seat cleaner, and they won't come out. So I have to assume that they're jizz. I mean, what else could they be? What else can get into fabric and be that permanent? Anyhow, where was I going with that? The reality of normal life is that it sucks and that it will always suck. Because if I've been working this long and that's the only car I can afford, and this is the only house that I can live in, and Susie Rottencrotch is actually texting me right now asking me why I'm late for our dinner and thrust. And I'm like, you know what, Susie? I can do better. But the reality is, even if I wanted to change my life, even if I wanted to be ambitious and try harder, the truth is that I'd end up just like Gen Z. Today, Gen Z was telling me, it's like, man, I just want to go home and crawl into bed and eat some dinner, but I'm too tired from work. And I'm like, too tired? Come on, man. Don't lie to me. You don't have to lie to me. You can lie to the whole world, but don't lie to me. And I started reading him off the symptoms of clinical depression, and he met every single checkbox. Every single checkbox for clinical depression Gen Z has. And you can't blame him because there's no way someone's going to give that guy a good job. Not a chance in hell. How he's managed to hold on here is just because this company. I don't know what's wrong with this company, but they let go a bunch of the layoffs have been very, very steady. Today they laid off 3 people I didn't think were going to be laid off, and yet my coworker came up to me and it's like, look at these names. These people have been with this company for years, and they just let them go like that. I love when they sneak up behind you and they terminate you from behind. The language they use in these termination letters is awful. It hurts my stomach to read these things because these people are sitting at their desks, minding their own business, have worked here long enough to believe that they had some sort of job security, and just like Jack the Ripper, they're sitting there and suddenly they get an email. If you aren't scared right now, the second you see an email from HR, you should be. And if you are scared, you're not scared enough because layoffs are coming for all of you. And no one is safe. And I've been fired from every job I've ever had in my entire life. And I can feel it. Every night I can feel it. We all can feel it. America isn't about job security. It's not about good paying jobs. It's about the reality of things versus unrealistic expectations that we have to tell ourselves. Because if we can't convince ourselves that things are going to get better or that this isn't going to stay like this forever, you might as well get the rope. In fact, I brought this really long cord over to one of my coworker's desk this morning. It's like, hey, here, man, it looks like you might need this. And he's like, you're right, man. Uh, at the rate that things are going at this company, I'm going to be hanging from this USB cord by the end of the day. It was dark, but it was honest. It was the realistic expectations of what this job does to you and how long most of us are going to be able to keep our jobs. Because the economy is shrinking, folks. We know it, we feel it, we see it. Regardless of all the rosy media coverage that we're getting, this world is changing for the worst for poor people. It's going to be a hell of a great time to be rich for the next 4 years. But if you're poor, mark my words, we're only 4 days into this guy. By the time you get to that last day, most of us are probably going to be living on the street, eating dirt, and waddling around in mud as our form of entertainment. All right, so let's get serious now. Let's get into our talking points. Why chase a dream when the system seems rigged to keep you from achieving it? Let's replace system with jobs, right? Because the job is what creates the dream. And look at the state of jobs in America. No job that's available for the proletariat is going to make you comfortable. In fact, every job you take is going to be more toxic, more disgusting, and more despicable than the next. And some rich guy's going to look at you like, what's wrong, proletariat? Don't like your job? Well, then get the F out of here. Because I've heard it my whole life, especially working in retail. They don't want people working in retail that realize that this isn't a real job. Remember, guys, your job isn't a real job. A job provides stability, it provides comfort, it provides a future. What you have working at McDonald's is the closest thing to enslaving the population as it humanly gets without actually making you wear chains. You think I live in a house? No, I live in a cage. The wage cage. The wage cage gets exchanged for two things every day. You're sitting in your apartment or you're sitting in a job you can't stand while the people who are overlooking your position still think you make too much money. That's the problem with this country is that rich people still think that the proletariat makes too much money. Oh, you're making $15 an hour? Oh man, we really can't afford it. Raise the minimum wage by $1? Oh my God, job losses. And the world will collapse if we let poor people have money. Because the last thing a rich guy wants is to have less money. I mean, they're so infected with the disease of greed and empathy that they just can't see straight. I mean, look at those clowns this week sitting at the inauguration. I can never say this a word when I'm on camera. Like I say it just fine when I'm not, but I'm not going to embarrass myself by not being able to say that word again. Anyhow, those billionaires that were with our Cheeto and Chief on Monday, do they even look human to you? They have a hard time passing as human, in my opinion. But those tech bros are the people that are going to make certain that you have nothing to live for in the next 4 years. And after that, who knows? My life wasn't great before. It hasn't been great. I don't see a rosy future for myself. In fact, when I see myself in my final day, in my final hour of my final life, I'm lying face forward in a mud puddle while people walk around me. That's how millennial steam will end. I will be of such low significance that no one's even going to bother to call. I'm just going to lay there, just, stroked out. And people are just going to be like, oh man, I hope I don't end up like that guy. The sad truth is that you too are going to end up in the mud puddle right next to me. So, with that dark imagery, let's move on to our next talking point. Stability and happiness now take precedence over climbing the corporate ladder. Do I have to say this again? Climbing the corporate ladder has been an illusion for the past 30 years. The ladder either doesn't exist, doesn't work, or we're feeling nostalgic for a time in which our grandparents told us that they could buy a house while they worked at a 7-Eleven. The corporate ladder is a false idol, for better use of words. It doesn't exist. In fact, I have to say this. I was getting in my car after going to the gym today, and there's a sticker of Jesus on someone's bumper, and it says, "Do you really follow Jesus this closely in your real life?" And I thought, now that's a question. I mean, I was like looking at this bumper sticker thinking, it reminded me a lot of the one that I read, I think maybe a year ago. I was driving to work and I looked at a bumper sticker and it said, if you're going to, be this close to me, you can at least pull my hair. And I was like, wow, there's a real winner inside that car right now. Chances are there's a dude driving it too who's bald. Anyhow, stability and happiness. Have I ever known stability and happiness? No. Stability and happiness exists in that cage where rich people and happy people and people that don't have any real problems live. It's a place that most proletariat men will never be able to touch. In fact, while I was at the gym, I text messaged a person that I know and I asked, it's like, is your gym full of ugly, poor men as well? She didn't even have the audacity to write me back because the answer was yes. All right, moving on to our next talking point, distrust in the traditional systems. Gen Z has grown up watching institutions fail them. Isn't that true? They're skeptical of systems that claim hard work leads to success. This distrust is fueling their rejection of outdated career and lifestyle aspirations. Now, tell me this, what aspirations do you have? My lifestyle aspirations include not being homeless, not living in my car, and hopefully not coming to my end in a mud puddle at the ripe old age of 50. Because let's face it, we're not going to make it to retirement age. Once they take away your health care, you're living your worst life, eating the worst food, living in the worst place, under the highest levels of stress. I don't see you making it to retirement age. I see you stroking out, starving. Remember, poverty is the fourth leading cause in America for why you're going to get put into the hole sooner rather than later. So, what's the point of having lifestyle aspirations if all of them involve just simply avoiding a normal life? Because I'd like to believe that I'm a failure on an epic level, right? I'd like to believe that I suck at life and that therefore no woman will ever want to be in a relationship with me. No bank will ever give me a loan for a home. And I will never own a nice car. And you guys ask me in the comments, it's like, why do you bring up the car thing a lot? Because the car is just like the relationship. No woman wants a relationship with Johnny Sixpack that's broke all the time or that is mentally incompetent any more than a bank is going to give a bank loan to a person for a car that they can't afford. Your inability to afford love is simultaneously the same problem you have with lifestyle aspirations. Nobody likes you. Your coworkers don't like you. Your family doesn't like you. Society doesn't like you. And it's all for one reason. You're a loser. And you will always be a loser. I've just come to accept the fact that losers don't get anything. And that there's very little you can do in order to remove the L from your forehead and the L around your neck. It's just life. If you want to believe in the traditional American dream that someday, as long as you work hard, you're going to get there, I've said this so many times on my channel before. If you think immense effort is going to get you over the hump and over there where you want to live, right? Over there into where the big houses, the safe neighborhoods, the all white communities. If you think that immense effort's going to get you there, keep thinking that. Because McDonald's wants you to think that way. McDonald's wants you to believe that flipping burgers and pouring drinks and putting fries into the Happy Meals is going to make you get there faster. But the reality of it is that there are nearly zero jobs for the proletariat in order for you to climb into a better life. Gen Z realizes this, and as they say here, redefining their own success on their own terms. Gen Z is trading the white picket fence for flexibility, side hustles, and a life that prioritizes. I cannot talk today. Prioritizes joy over grind. Do you know when the last time I felt joy was? Never. Never have I felt joy. My life has been about the grind, about Fleece Johnson, and about the grind back there. Life isn't supposed to be good for the proletariat. And believing that someday your ticket's going to come through, keep thinking that because corporate America needs you to keep believing. They don't want people who think like me in corporate America because, as I've been told, I'm a poison pill in the workplace. I tell people the way it is. They can't have someone like me working in a call center next to a guy that's been working there for 20 years and he still makes the same amount of money as I do when I walk in and sit next to him. That is a problem for any corporation. No one wants you watching this channel. This channel is bad for society because society needs chumps. They need people who actually believe that immense effort and loyalty to Evil Corp means something. They don't want you watching Millennial Steam. Millennial Steam is crazy. And he says crazy things because he's angry at the world. Because all he does all day is shake hands with the governor.